Hey guys, welcome to yet another episode of the Differentiators. Before I start, more episodes in the future, any updates which you want to receive, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And in today's show, we have Jagat Iyer, who is the founder and CEO of Vidphone, which is a full suite solution for entrepreneurs to conduct remote business in one platform. Thank you for joining us, Jagat. Thanks for taking your time out.
Pleasure. Thanks a lot for inviting me, Aditya and Shreyas. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. So my first question is, what is Vidphone and why did you start it? How did you get the idea of starting Vidphone?
Vidphone, as I said, is a full suite remote work platform. Basically, it's a platform for businesses to be able to engage with their customers and their employees in one single platform, video first platform, and it's really a culmination of some of the work we started in 2016 when we launched India's first video chat app. This was about 2 months before Google Duo. One of the first people to use this particular technology. Um, it was back then a consumer app, and over time we have kind of improved it. And Vidphone is about a little over a year old, year and a half, and yeah, that's the quick summary.
Sure. So the one app which you started in 2016. So what is that called?
It was called Livewire. So Livewire was basically a high quality video chat application.
Mm-hmm.
Then of course Google Duo came, which was pretty much the same app, and it was great to see WhatsApp video chat come in. A lot of other video chat apps also that came in after that. So it's an interesting space to be in. Yeah.
Right. Sure. So how do you think that Vidphone is different from other enterprise video platforms like Zoom and Microsoft Teams?
I think today Vidphone is a virtual office platform, right? It's if you look at our website, it's all about your virtual office. The way I kind of say is that about a year ago, year and a half ago, that is when the pandemic first came, uh, all of us were doing the same thing, whether it's Google Meet or whether it's Zoom or whether it's Microsoft Teams. In fact, we had launched probably earlier than all of them, which is browser-based scheduled links, right?
Mm.
So scheduled conferencing and webinars is what everything was about 2020. 2021 is all about the virtual office itself. So the way I like to differentiate it is, and it's called differentiators. So it's a nice name. Uh, I know the olden days, if you guys know what's a PCO, right? You had the
Yeah.
phone booth. So these are scheduled calls, right? You will
Mm.
have to go and. But life does not happen on scheduled calls. Life happens what we say serendipitously, right? Serendipity is a big part of life. Good
Mm.
chance meetings. So if you look at Vidphone, we offer you a full suite of tools, virtual office for your employees, virtual office for your customers, and of course we have webinars and meetings. We also have video mail, which is Vmail, which is probably the first in the world. So the simple way to answer how we are different is we have what they have, and we have a few things on top of that, which kind of make remote work a lot easier. Yeah.
So, you have any inspiration from science fictions that has helped you build this?
Well, science is a big part of our life, right? I mean, I'm an engineer from NIT, so science has always been a big part of our life. Back in the right at the beginning, I think when I was a small child or maybe a kid, a few probably below 10 years old, my father introduced me to Star Trek, the very early, the first series, Spock and Captain Kirk and everyone. So if you look at any kind of science fiction, one of the most important components of that is having video conferencing. And in 2016, I saw that still video conferencing had not arrived, right? So definitely a lot of science fiction, but more than science fiction, I would say, I spent about half a decade doing digital transformation for some of the largest brands in the world, which include, Underwriters Laboratories, Bosch, a lot of other companies. And that gave me the, inspiration for the next level of customer experience, which is video. So I would say science fiction, and more so my own experiences building out digital solutions for enterprises. So these were the two main inspirations here.
And how big was this team that built the Livewire? Because you had to compete with Google Duo. So, how big was your team?
We've maintained a very small team always. You know, we take pride in being a very small team. In fact, Livewire was built completely. Akhil, myself, and Chandni, who's also a co-founder. So it was only three of us. And I would say Akhil and I did most of the work there. Chandni, of course, on the design side. Uh, but yeah, we're a very small team, and we never looked to compete with Duo. By the time they got Virat Kohli to advertise, we had already moved towards B2B, and we wanted to find bigger problems to solve there.
Right.
It's always been a small team.
Right. So, can you talk a little bit about the business model of Vidphone?
Sure. So today, and these times, the pandemic and coronavirus, the issue leads us to come up with some innovative business models, because we understand that a lot of places, they want to be kind of careful with their investments. So one is, of course, we're a SaaS platform, and traditional SaaS is typically per user per month. So that's a license-based model that we have. But some of the larger work we do with enterprises, there may be certain larger enterprise deals, right? So these may be slightly different from SaaS. We may offer some customizations, etc. But typically, we're a SaaS and a CPaaS platform. So we charge per seat, per license, and in the future, we will be charging per minute.
Right.
Can you explain from a customer point of view, how does this Vidphone help for a business?
So today, there is no way for a customer to talk to a business in video. Okay. When you look at business communication, two of the mainstays have been email and phone. And one thing you will notice is that you have a permanent email ID, you have a permanent phone number, but you don't have a permanent video ID. And another important point is that the email and phone, for example, if you're on Gmail, I can send you a mail from Zoho or Microsoft Outlook, whatever. It's what we call cross-operable, interoperable. Same thing with phone. If you're on Airtel, I can call you from Vodafone, I call you from Jio. But in video, we don't have that. And so why is video that different? Video is just one step above voice. So what's very critical is to understand that today customers cannot talk to a business in video. You can call a business, you can email a business, but you can't video chat with the business. So with our model, vidphone.me/differentiators, I can just enter your virtual office. I can directly video call either any of your team. It could be a sales, it could be a support, and I could also book scheduled meetings. So I could also schedule a video call with you directly. Today, there is no platform in the world where you can do that, and it's surprising. When you think about it, you'll understand that only the business can send the link to the customer in video. The customer cannot call you. So that's very, very important. That's the first step. But I think that's how we started the journey, by having Vidphone, having a Vidphone ID, which is a browser-based link, much like your email address or your phone number, where you have, permanent cross-operable Vidphone ID. Today, of course, we're a full suite solution. So you can basically have your employees in your virtual office, much like how you're sitting in your own office, right? So you're sitting next to each other. I don't know if you've explored the platform, but if you go to vidphone.me/office/public, which is our public office, it's like a co-working space there. It's a free trial. Anybody can come. It's like you're sitting next to your people. You can just click on them, much like you tap on them, and you get into a meeting. So we're trying to, that's a real important thing for employees, right? Because today there is a lot of Zoom fatigue. People are tired of scheduled calls, and business does not happen in scheduled ways. Like business happens sometimes serendipitously. And so when you have permanent IDs, much like a phone call or email, you can get a call anytime. And that's the beauty of Vidphone, right? So one is on the employees, where you have an employee hub. And for the customers also, there's a video customer touch point. So these are two main areas where we feel in the future, there'll be a lot of business happening on video, and what we call the video transaction. And, we're at the center of that.
Right. So is that the reason why it's a browser-based solution and you don't have an application?
It's a great question, and good you noticed that. It is two reasons, right? One is that we don't force you to download an app because, yes, it can't be cross-operable. But more importantly, we have what we call a secure by design platform. So if you look at what happened, there is news recently of some of our competitors. Even after they've put off the video chat, the chat is still on and the things are recording. And for some people, it's in their bedrooms. And it's a very, very difficult situation. And then you have hackers calling them and actually extorting them, saying that, hey, you know what? I got some really good footage of you. So we do it for two reasons. One is for a business use case where it's very, very simple. and more importantly, for being secure, right? And today, the moment you close this app, close this tab on Vidphone, there is no way that anybody can snoop on you. But the moment you download a client onto your desktop or your laptop, even if you close that tab, there is no assurance that it's actually closed. So
Right.
yeah, two reasons there. Yeah.
Sure.
Coming to security part, uh, how do you see it enhance in the future for other platforms and yours as well?
Well, I won't comment much on other platforms. We can talk about what we do. And to me, security is not something that is something to be worked on after you kind of hit the whole market. It's very unfortunate that some of our competition has been so laissez-faire with the whole security thing, right? I mean, they're billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar companies, and the kind of problems have been very serious. For us, it's about being secure by design. As I said, it's not about really what encryption you use or how ethical you are. These are secondary questions. Are you secure by design? I think that's going to be very important. And we'll address video much like we addressed voice and text. The moment you have permanent IDs and you have permanent authentication, it's basically we address it at the authentication level, right? Today, in the other platforms, you're always sending temporary links, and so there is no accountability. Anybody can pop in. So that is one. Is I think the moment you have vidphone.me/Jagat or Shreyas or Aditya, obviously we know who it is, and you have a reputation, much like social networks, right? So there was MySpace where you tried to be someone else, and Facebook where you are actually who you are, and that's how we will solve video. That's at the first level. I think that will happen the moment you have secure video authentication. But going further, probably a year from now, I think all of authentication will be video based, and when you get into a platform, automatically you will know who it is, and that's a lot more secure. Much like your office, right? You have a card, so only those who have the card can enter. It's not that anybody can enter. These have been solved actually offline in multiple scenarios. If you look at a school now, schools are using other tools, and anybody can pop in, and there are very very serious issues that have happened of what do you call bad actors who are getting onto these platforms. To me, how did you go to school? Not everybody could enter your school premises, right? You had a badge, or people would know you. There was security, there was a gate. So that would be a big component in the sense that, let's say I'm having a class of 30 students. I'm not going to keep changing that 30, right? That 30 is fixed. So we believe that it will be a database of 30 people with their secure photo IDs, where they come into the application, they know, hi Jagat, welcome to the class, and I'm inside. So that's the way we would look to address this in the future. But yeah, these are the two main ways that we think security will play out. Yeah.
Okay. So coming to this question of business, it's a B2B model that you follow. So how can the small scale industries and the medium scale industries take advantage of this?
I wouldn't say we are today. The lines between B2C and B2B are very blurred. If you look at 1 year ago or 1.5 years ago, I would say Zoom was typically a B2B solution, but then it became a B2C. It's as good as WhatsApp today. So I think the lines of B2C and B2B are merging. If you look at our platform, we have plans right from free, and then we have a pro version, which is basically for the individual, which is for solopreneurs, consultants, freelancers. Then we have a small business and startup plan, which is about, let's say, 25 to 50 people maximum. And then there is the enterprise plan, which is 100 plus licenses. So video is much like voice or text, like email or phone, where the solution is ubiquitous. It is the same thing for everybody. The phone number does not change whether you're a freelancer or whether you're the CEO of an enterprise. The concept is the same. Similarly with video, so it's a horizontal play, and so we are not only an enterprise solution, right? So we have a lot of startups who use our tools, we have a lot of freelancers who use our tools, and we also have enterprises. So that's one of the beauties of this business, and that's why it's so exciting.
So, how do you plan to scale the business? To get other B2B clients, to sign on big B2B clients, maybe large ticket clients. So, how do you plan to do that going forward?
No, we're not planning. We're already signing up some
Right.
large players.
Okay.
We have customers from around the world now, and these are includes the fourth largest car manufacturer in the world. plus other enterprises which are very, very large. So it's already begun. I think a large part of video conferencing or the whole video business, one of the beauties of video business is that it is inherently viral, right? So if I need to use this, I have to invite you. I have to invite 10 more guys. So that's the beauty of our business. I'll give you an example. We signed up a law firm recently, and they have about 25 people. We just invited one of them in, and we now see that nearly 25 people are actually on the virtual office, and we didn't do any customer acquisition cost, zero. That's the beauty of video conferencing, which is why the multiples and the earning multiples are so high in video. It's one of the few cases in business to business, you could say, or in enterprise, where you have a viral product. You very rarely have that scenario. So for us, a lot of it happens organically. If you look at some of our marketing initiatives, so over the past 8 months, we have covered maybe, as I said, probably 150 odd sessions, which is the entire, startup ecosystem now in Bangalore. We have probably 200 odd founders who are part of our, community. So because we are founders and we feel very passionate about founders. So we do webinars and we do, initiatives which are organic. We don't spend any money on advertising as such, because we don't believe that necessarily is the way to go now. Webinars are a big part of the acquisition strategy as well. So I think a lot of organic plus webinar driven growth. Of course, word of mouth, when the organic is word of mouth. So we have now 1.3 lakh registered users on our platform, and we have spent practically zero on marketing. So it's an extremely inherently vital business.
Right. So is the platform, is the startup itself, is it bootstrapped, or have you received any external funding so far?
We have raised a seed round from angel investors, and they are from Harvard, Google, KPMG, EY, Flipkart, Publicis. So we have some really nice angel investors with us. So yeah, we're funded, but now we're looking to raise our next round as well. So we're in talks, quite a few VCs as well who are interested. So we were bootstrapped for quite a while, but we raised angel money, and from there obviously it's going to be a lot of raising. Yeah, because and honestly speaking, to me, whether you're bootstrapping or raising money, it really depends on the situation. We saw that our competition, Google and Microsoft are $1 trillion companies. Zoom is $100 billion. I mean, I think probably $100 billion company. So for us, we have to have some capital, especially when they are doing what we call, predatory pricing, which is offering the product free of cost. Video conferencing is expensive. When you run a video conference like this for 1 hour, you have servers, you have teams to take care of it.
Right.
But you see that they're just dumping the product on the market. So we had to raise some money to survive and make sure that we are probably we are India's answer to these companies. So that's why we had to also raise. And of course they were very nice people. So yeah.
So how huge do you think this idea could be?
So that's a difficult one. You will not believe it. That's what I would say. Look, I see that, especially today with the coronavirus situation, and we were building this before coronavirus, right? We were building in 2016 because I believed in video, and we believed in the whole macro play of video going forward. Today, I see every walk of life happening only on video, and I'm not making an understatement. The first is work, which is your office and customers and employees, which is what we're doing now. Education, healthcare. Soon you will have shopping, which is completely on video. So you will just call your shop on video and tell them, Ramesha, send me all of this stuff. You will see weddings happening online on video. You will see entertainment that is completely on video. So how big can it get? As I said, you will not believe it. But simply to put some math around it, Gartner says that there are 1 billion knowledge workers today in the world, right? And we focus on the knowledge workers, right? People who use internet and people who use video. 1 billion knowledge workers, and I believe that they will pay $10 a month for the tool, which is $100 approximately a year, which is $100 billion business revenues. It's staggering. and that's just remote work. We're not even talking of doctors, education, entertainment, shopping, and stuff like that. This is the only real business of the future, if you ask me. Everything else is going to be complementary to this. So you will have AI on top of video, you will have IoT on top of video, you will have augmented reality, you'll have virtual reality, blockchain also. But video will be the center of of the world going forward. So yeah, very very big market. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So, any new products that you're planning after Vidphone?
So Vidphone today is a suite. So today we have, if you look at our website, we offer virtual office, we offer meetings. This is the webinar solution. We are also launching an SDK. We already have it. We have appointment scheduling, which is like your Calendly plus Zoom. So we have it in one elegant platform. So we already have 5-6 products, but we don't call them products. We just call them features. So we do have some in the pipeline. We do have some, some things, but I think right now we have a lot on our plate. We are not looking at any new launches as such, at least for 2021. But yeah, there is a lot of stuff that's in the pipeline. But yeah, as you know, our hands are very full right now.
Okay, coming back to your entrepreneurial journey. So your advices on entrepreneurship and your experiences as an entrepreneur.
Thanks. Yeah, great question. My entrepreneurial journey started nearly 10, 11 years back. I was one of the, I started my first company in 2008 when I was 22. I was at NIT and 7th Sem, and that's when I came back and I started my first company. I started my second company in 2010, which when I was 25. And my advice is like, we didn't start out to do a startup at that time. In fact, the word startup was not even common. We just called it doing our own thing. And that's how we started, right? But today it's a lot more, organized. There's a lot of ecosystem around it. There is thesis around building startups. My only advice to entrepreneurs is don't do it for the wrong reasons, right? You have to do it because, see, why did I start? I started because I really believed that I wanted to spend every day extremely, it has to be very exciting to me. We have to be building cutting edge technology. And there was really no job that offered me that kind of excitement. So I had to build the company that gave me this kind of life. So even after 11 years of building it, I'm still as excited more excited than I ever was. So one is, if you want to be an entrepreneur, I think the number one thing is that you have to find a big problem to solve, like first. And you have to have some insights or something that you know uniquely. People start a business because they hate their boss or they got fired or they want to make $1 billion and all this stuff. I think those are, byproducts. I don't think that can be your core mission. So my only advice to entrepreneurs is like only start up when you're, when you know there is a big problem that only you can solve brilliantly, because there's too much competition in the world. And trust me, we, I think, have seen competition that I think no startup in the world has seen actually, because it's just unbelievable, right? You have only $1 trillion companies who build this stuff and they dump free product. So that's really the worst kind of competition you can get. So life is very competitive with entrepreneurship. Only started when you really can solve a problem that you have some unique insights on.
Right.
That's my. Of course, there are a ton of stuff I can go on, but right. Let me. Since you asked me that question, I'm very passionate about entrepreneurship. I'll probably share 2 more things. One is, of course, that you need to have a big problem, and you need, it needs to be out there. That it's a big itch for you. You need to solve. The second is, I think, the rules of large companies don't apply in startups, right? Because, and typically, I've never even used the word internally as employees, right? I don't believe in the employee-employer culture. I believe that a startup is a lot like a family, and as an entrepreneur, you need to have a high EQ, right? You really need to understand why people would kind of do or jump into this thing with you, right? It's always risky. So I think the second thing is that you need to build up a sense of emotional quotient. And one of the fundamental things I've seen about entrepreneurship, very different from, let's say, the employee mindset, is that from day one, you work for others. I don't work for myself because there's no point working for myself. That I would do if I was an employee. I would only work for my 9 to 5 and get my salary and my career path. But here, my whole business, I never think about myself. I'm always seeing if my team can do brilliantly, automatically I'm going to do well. So This is one of the beauties of entrepreneurship. It's one of the few things where you can actually work for other people. Right? That's two. And I think the third is that talent is important. You need to have a scientific, especially in, I'm saying like startups is technology startups. I'm not talking of starting a restaurant or a construction business, right? I'm talking of specifically software and technology products. You need to have talent. I don't think there's a substitute for talent, right? You can get guys from who are not talented and train them for years, but they will not be innately brilliant as some of talent. But more importantly than talent, definitely is persistence and perseverance, right? I think I cannot say enough about how important it is to persevere. And 11 years of running a business, I think, and I don't, my family is not, like Ambani or something. We have, no great wealth to talk of. But I think persistence is what makes entrepreneurship more than anything else. So 3 things: find a big problem that only you can solve. You have unique insights to solve. 2 is work for your people and run it like a family. Don't run it like a corporation, because the rules are different. And of course, what I said, the last point as well. So I think these 3 would be the key my advice. I wouldn't call it advice. I would just say my notes to fellow entrepreneurs.
Sure. So you mentioned that you over the past 11 years you've worked on different things. So definitely, you would have pivoted at some points of time. So how do you decide when to pivot and what to work on at a certain point of time?
I think as I grow older, we start thinking more on this. And when I started in 2010, my first product was a social commerce product. There was no social commerce in India. There was no social in India. There was no e-commerce in India in 2010. So I believed in social commerce. I believed that word of mouth and a certain way of running products was the way to go. So that's when we started. We didn't do much due diligence. It was just a romance, and we started. Pivoting, I think, is, we've actually reincarnated. So I wouldn't even call it a pivot. Pivot is like, it comes from basketball, where you have the ball and you have one leg that's planted, and you move one leg for direction. And so you're planted in your core competency. That's why it's not a reincarnation. It's like, so I would say virtual office is a pivot. But before I got into video, we were doing completely different things. So it's not a pivot. It's what I call reincarnation, right? You're different persons, avatar, right? Different avatar. So I would say we've had 3 main kind of avatars. First was social commerce for a couple of years. We realized everything was wrong in India about it. I mean, there was no mobile, there was no Android, there was no iOS, there was nothing. So you can't run on demand on desktops and laptops. We didn't know that. Then I ran, a really wonderful agency. I had a lot of fun running my agency. Our clients included the largest political party in the world, the largest property management company in the world, the largest safety science company in the world, India's largest media company. We were running a really good digital agency. So that was the second phase of our thing. And 2016 on, it's been video. So I would say 3 big, plays over 10 years. Yeah, that's about it. How do you decide to pivot? It's an art and science. You can't really put numbers on it. There's not something that you can just do quantitatively. It is a feeling. And I think that feeling comes from this, what I call like holy grail of development or software is product market fit. It's everything. There is nothing beyond product market fit. If you can get product market fit, you're done, right? A large part of it is done. And if you don't find it, you have to pivot. Simple. It's as simple as that. You cannot force products down people's throats. Right? And that is product market fit. Till you find product market fit, keep pivoting. It's as simple as that.
So during this journey, so who are your inspiration and role models?
Well, too many. A lot of people I'm very inspired by. I think, I don't want to sound cliche or something, but I think my father is somebody I look up to, like everything. In fact, my whole, I would say, being a professional itself, I learned from my dad, because he's one of the most senior company secretaries in the country. He's also written, one of the people who wrote Companies Act 2013. I look up to him a lot. In fact, I remember breakfast conversations when I'm a child or I'm a kid, where we're looking at the business section of the newspaper and trying to read the annual statements and understanding share price. So I think he's been a big inspiration for me, my dad. simply in the way that he has conducted his whole life and the respect he has in the in his surface. Uh, I think my dad is number one, I would say, because um, being 1% in your field is very tough. It's in fact what every professional or athlete or musician, everybody is looking to be 1%. And the fact that he has done it in his field is something that I look up to. And he comes from humble background, so done it completely on his merit. I think number one is that. Entrepreneurship. I have two big role models. Not role models, I would say inspirations rather. I think I started, getting interest. In fact, I didn't know the word entrepreneurship. Right, it came about when I was probably 17 or 18 years old. After I read about Richard Branson, and my second, obviously, Steve Jobs. And I have both of them because these are completely different personalities. Steve Jobs is a micromanager. He runs one thing, one company, Apple. Richard Branson is the complete opposite. He's a macro manager. He has 400 companies, and they're completely contrasting personalities. But both of them, the kind of way they have run their businesses, it's unbelievable, right? So entrepreneurship, yeah, these are my two big inspirations: Richard Branson, Steve Jobs. But I think I would take probably two more names, and this is to do more with my upbringing. I would say my biggest inspiration, apart from, like a celebrity, if I can call it, is Adi Shankara. I think Adi Shankaracharya is probably the most intellectually brilliant person to walk this planet. I don't think there's anybody who's intellectually better than Adi Shankaracharya and Swami Vivekananda. So I think Vivekananda and Adi Shankara are like roots to me, and they're very, very important. And that's not to do with business; it's to do with life. Business, yeah, the two, and that, of course, yeah.
So just shifting the focus from entrepreneurship to wealth creation, right? So how do you think wealth gets created in the long term? So do you think one needs to invest and own equities to create wealth in the long term for the wealth to get compounded, or is there any other way to do it? Is there any other smarter way to do it?
Well, I think today the smartest way probably is equity. Of course, wealth is created. You have multiple classes, right? Asset classes. It just comes down to asset classes. You not only have stock, you can also have land. You can have cash sitting there, or you could have gold. You could have collectibles, right? Like God knows, antiques. You can have art. So wealth is like you can. There are various land, of course, and so you can have various asset classes. But I think in today's day and age, we are in the system where very clearly, capitalistic society, you have to think about equity and stocks. I think this is big. Of course, there is crypto, and I don't want to talk much about crypto. So there are a lot of ways to make money, but I think the most the kind of non-lottery or non-luck way would probably be equity today. Okay, I may be wrong, but as far as I can see, there is nothing bigger than building companies today. I think that's the way you get rewarded the most. But that doesn't mean that everybody who starts the company will get rewarded. That's the irony of entrepreneurship, right? 99% will fail. So I wouldn't say it's for the masses also. But if you ask me which is the best or the quickest way, or not probably the quickest way to make really big money, definitely it's a corporation.
Right.
Two questions. One is hard work versus talent.
Both. There is, to me, I cannot pick one over the other. I think it's always both. If you want to be 1%, you can ask, I think, any 1%er, is it your talent or is it your hard work? And they will say both. Look at Elon Musk, look at Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli is not only a brilliant talent, but I think today, I'm not talking of Virat Kohli 2010 when he was probably more of a party freak, but today I think he's the guy who trains, and his diet, it is probably the number one in the world. Like there's nobody who's at his kind of ethic, which is like hard work. He's probably first to get in the nets, last to go out, or never eat junk food, in the gym every day. So that's hard work. But doesn't mean that Virat Kohli is not talented. He's probably one of the most talented guys in the world. So to be one, again, the question is, what do you want, right? If you just want to be a 30 percenter or 30 percentile or 80 percentile, then maybe one of the two will be good. It's like in college, you would have probably guys who are not brilliant, but they study very hard and they kind of score some marks. And you would also have guys who never study at all and get some marks also. But the real brilliant guys who are consistently brilliant are probably those who have both, right? So to me, always it's both. I think that's very, very important. It's like two sides of the same coin. So if success is your coin, it's like hard work plus talent.
Yeah, when you say both, right? I'm just thinking about this. So because hard work and work ethic is something which we as individuals can control, but is talent, is that something you're born with? Is it something that you can control? Something which can you work on that? Of course, you can work on working hard, spending time, giving your everything, putting in the effort. But is talent, is it something that you're born with, or is that also something you can work on?
There are two ways to look at talent. I think one is what you can call like naturally gifted. There's no doubt that some people are gifted to do some things, right? You can't take it away because that would come again. How does that build up, right? Let's say I'm in a cricketing family, and right from the time I'm 1 year old, not even 3 or 5, 1 year old, or my life is cricket. And I'm saying, in fact, I'm also a state level cricketer. I was, teammates with Robin Uthappa and back in the day.
Right.
So I would say that in cricketing, if you're a cricketer, if you're born in a cricketing household, definitely you would have an edge over the guys who are not from a cricketing household. And I would say that builds your talent, right? By the time you're 5 or 10 or 14, under 14, under 16, that would build your talent because that's your environment. So there is an advantage definitely because it comes naturally to you, but doesn't mean that you can't work on certain things, right? So, but I think if you look at how would I put this? The answer is definitely you can work on your talents, but to be a genius, you need it. I think you need to have some gift, right? That's my maybe people disagree, but and again maybe if you work relentlessly and you're lucky also, you could hit that genius god mode. But I think when you look at it, typically you need some raw talent, right? Yeah, that's my take on it. Definitely, you can work hard, you can build and work on your skill sets and improve, but innate brilliance or talent, raw talent, is something different.
Right.
Okay. The next question is Star Trek versus Star Wars.
Tough one. Very, very tough because, in fact, I've had this conversation with my wife as well. But I really cannot pick. I think it depends who I'm watching it with. Maybe if I'm watching it with my wife because she's more of a Star Wars fan, I would watch Star Wars. But if I'm watching with my dad, I would watch Star Trek. So depends on the context. But yeah, both are brilliant, right? Captain Kirk plus Darth Vader. So Darth Kirk or something. Captain Vader. Yeah, ideal.
Sure. So we've seen. I think you must be aware of this. We've seen over the past 1 week there are a lot of unicorns coming out of India, especially Indian companies. So do you believe even Vidphone has the potential to become a unicorn, to for it to become a big unicorn one day from India?
I think we will remain a company. We'll never become an animal. That much is true.
Right.
We'll never become a fictional animal. So jokes aside, I think, look, honestly, as I said, we started the business way before all these words were coined. I never started it really to intentionally make money as such. And I don't think you can start something to make money or say unicorn, not unicorn, right? You do something to add value. And the money, the fame, the success or the happiness, whatever it is a byproduct. It doesn't really matter. See, unicorn, I think India's time has come. There's no doubt about it. And I think a lot of wonderful founders. There's been 10 years of the ecosystem, right? So you would have a lot of numbers coming out. But honestly speaking, I would let others decide whether it's unicorn material. But to me, really, we don't look at these things. I look at our customers and we look at what's next. We have a very big mandate in front of us, right? We're India's first video conferencing company. There were a lot of other players who got in opportunistically last year who made some news. None of them are existing today. They're all gone. Many of them have gone. And I feel that our team is something that we have to be very responsible because video and remote work is going to become very critical to our country and the world. So to me, a unicorn, even if we were a success, I think a unicorn is a very small number. But honestly speaking, it really doesn't matter to us. We are excited about the work and we have a big responsibility. And that's beyond money, right? Today, when I look at people sitting at home and we're the only guys in India who can actually who actually have full-fledged video conferencing webinars and all this stuff. So it's a mandate and responsibility. Unicorn is, I think, I would say it's having a, whether we are material, of course. I mean, I would look, video conferencing. We know the business. It's got high valuation to revenue kind of multiples, and those, that's all fine, but doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. In fact, a unicorn is, there are so many unicorns. What will I do being a unicorn? Just be one of them.
Your views on building teams and your team.
I think my views on building teams. I think it depends on the context. If you're asking me to build a team in a startup, is very different from building my team at an enterprise. If I was a team leader and then I had to hire guys, senior engineer, junior engineer, at a large company, it's very different. But I would say specifically startup, because that's what probably we're talking about, which is very different ballgame, right? I can't attract people based on my big brand. In fact, I tell this to people and some people who are also at large companies. And what's very important is try and look at yourself. If you remove that brand name from your introduction, what would you be? That's important. So in a large company, that does it for you. The brand, the salary package, the Glassdoor reviews, all of that does half your job in building the team, right? But in a startup, it's very different. In a startup, it's really about, I think, I would say start small, keep the team, and especially in technology. If you look at it, WhatsApp, when they sold, their whole Android division had like 3 or 4 people. So technology by default means you can work with small teams. Today also, you look at, I think, Clubhouse, right? I think Clubhouse is probably 40 people.
Yeah.
And you look at companies in India, similar other companies. I mean, they're 100, 200, 500, 1,000 people. They run it almost like a services company, right? I mean, it makes no sense. 100 average developers cannot beat a smart developer. This is the brilliance or beauty of technology and programming and product. So start small, especially when a startup. Like, I mean small, I mean micro. Right? I don't mean 10 people is small. I think 4 or 5 is till you get to 50 million or 100 million valuation, you can be like 10 people company, which is unheard of in this country. But my view, my honest view is that because this is not a numbers game with your team. You're not out there to say I'm a 100 people team. That's not the goal here. You want to work with very, very smart people. Not only that they are brilliant, but the tougher thing is that when you get the chemistry has to work. And typically it's very difficult with larger teams, right? So in team building, if you're building in a startup, I would say constraint is very critical. Have that constraint to not kind of get too big. Even Steve Jobs said that Apple's the world's biggest startup.
Yeah.
And it's critical to have that mindset, because you will realize that, what do you say? And it's not about being lean or something. These are not even the reasons, right? Definitely, as you start scaling, you may want to hire and stuff. That's different. You move from startup to a large business. But till you hit that product market fit, growth mode, stay micro, and very important to work with people you like. I think one of the reasons I got into the business also is that, tell me who likes their managers, right? And why is that so? And remember that you have to, talk to or see it. And now, of course, luckily that people don't have to go to office, right? They don't see their face. But just imagine going every day to the office, hating your manager and going there, right? It's just the worst thing in the world. And that's really not fun. So you have to work with people you like and people that you genuinely get along with, probably, right? I think that's critical. In larger companies, you may have people that you have to get along with, a lot of politics, and you have to manage all kinds of stuff. In a startup, you can do away with a lot of that. So no politics. But I would say keep very, very small team. This is again coming back to the same thing. Second thing is that, innovation is not something that you talk about. It is what you are. Like, if you ask me, we were building on Django and social commerce in 2010. And then we built digital campaigns, the first political campaign in India in 2014. I had no benchmarks. 2016, we were building WebRTC based before even Google. And today we're doing virtual office where nobody's doing virtual office. There's no company in the world. It's a white space. So to me, and this is my view, I might be wrong, right? There might be other people who have different views. But to me, to build a team, like innovation is in your culture, and that's the way the company is. So if you are doing the same thing, like I know my first CTO, for example, is still working on the same stack that he was working with me 10 years ago in his company. And his company today is one of the unicorns they're talking about. In fact, they just raised money from SoftBank. And I asked him, and he's doing the same thing he did 10 years ago. That doesn't work here. In fact, WebRTC itself, I'm thinking, is getting old, right? I'm looking at what's next. So, and that's what's going to keep your team together. And that's the kind of tribe and the people that you will attract. Guys who don't want to copy paste, guys who don't want to take shortcuts. Even if someone's working at home, you don't want that person bullshitting you, right? I'm working, I'm not working. You don't want these kind. I'm off. So to attract that kind of very close-knit crowd, I think you have to be an innovator, and innovator by the way you are, not by some presentation or saying this is my roadmap. Your history will tell what an innovator you are. So to build a really raging team, and I'm talking of raging teams, I'm not talking of average teams. Like, and the reason I say this with humility also is that, this whole video conference saying we have webinars, meetings, all of this, right? We're like built it with two to three people. And my competition, the closest competition has 200 people. So, I think you get what I'm saying. To attract kind of crazy ones or the mavericks, innovation is number one, right? And that's why you're a technology company.
Right.
Yeah. Those are my quick notes on teams. Maybe there are a lot more, but yeah, I just want to keep it crisp.
But don't you think that once you sign on large clients, those clients will demand more support from your organization? Maybe not in terms of innovation, but maybe those clients are not technologically inclined to understand stuff. So maybe they'll demand certain explanations on, maybe even have some employees from Vidphone walk them through how the platform has to be used on a day-to-day basis. So in that sense, maybe from a customer success point of view, you might need more employees.
Look, there are two ways to look at this, right? One is to look at a kind of services kind of model. And in India, we always want that. We are used to having servants in the house.
Yeah.
So, and it's not about when we start getting. So understand that, some of our clients in the past, I'll tell you some of them, be it Underwriters Laboratories. UL is one of they're the number one safety science company in the world, probably 250 years old company. I have done work with Cushman Wakefield, which is the largest property management company in the world. Danfoss, which is like a Denmark-based company for drives. Rentokil Initial, which is a British-based company, again 200 plus years old. The Bharatiya Janata Party, which is the largest political party in the world. ZTV, which is one of the largest media companies. So we have done, these are enterprises, and I've done this for the past 10 years. It's about how you run the business, but specifically with Vidphone, we prefer more of a DIY culture here, which we have to build. This is a product company. This is not a service company. But what you said is absolutely right. There will be certain cases, and of course, when we do handhold our customers, it's not that we don't. You would know that, and even we do it with our customers as well. It's not that we don't find the time or we don't. But I don't necessarily believe that putting more people on the job will do a better job. Right? And again, if you have a platform that today it's very simple, right? Our platform is not something that you need to have someone deputed there as a as an on-site resource. I don't even like the word as an on-site resource. We don't do this. We're not Infosys. Right? We're not TCS. So I would not 100% agree. I think the clients are interested in how many leads can we generate for them. How you look at this video, for example, and you look at how the quality of the video. This is what actually matters. Right? The product matters. So yes, in India we have this culture. I agree with you. There is a services mindset, which is good. Atithi Devo Bhava we have. It's good, but it may not be the best thing for the company also, because the kind of people you're hiring. Look, one is to have a job. The other is to love your job. There are a lot of jobs in India. Okay, and I think 99% of people, their life happens only in the evening and on weekends. It doesn't happen. And so that's because it's a mundane, boring job. So we must also understand what kind of jobs do we want to create. If I can just have a simple documentation or a video that people can just watch and explain a video and do it, why will I keep having guys to keep running around? So that, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe we to have better kind of having a person there may work. But is that our roadmap? Is that how we envision the world should be? Probably not.
Yeah. Sure.
And US, and if you look at other cultures, other more advanced economies, I would just use that inverted commas. They have a lot of a DIY culture. Right? They don't really need. In fact, that's why they have Uber, and they don't want to talk to anyone. They don't want to talk to anyone. In India, because we have a lot of time, we can just sit and keep on talking, right? So it again comes down to the average wage per hour, how much you're making. So if I go somewhere and I sit with someone for one day, that's like very expensive. Right? And even if we're hiring people, we want them to have that kind of self-respect that, an hour for them is worth a lot of money. And so that's probably, that's how I see it. That's how I see it now. It doesn't mean that it's written in stone, Aditya. It's a very good question you asked. We do believe in the human element because we're a video chat company. We believe in the human element, but not the way it's been done so far in India. I don't agree with that.
Sure. I think, sure, Jagat. I mean, I don't have actually run out of questions. I'm not sure if Shreyas has anything to ask. So I think we've got more than what we expected, and a lot of insights, a lot of learning. Thank you so much for taking your time out, Jagat. It's almost been an hour. Thank you so much for taking your time out from your busy schedule. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. I really enjoyed it. Thanks so much for having me here.
Thank you.
And good luck with all the other episodes as well.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We have lots more to come on this channel since we have lined up a few more guests after this. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe and hit the bell icon to receive updates. In the description below, I have provided the LinkedIn page link. Follow us on LinkedIn to receive new notifications. So until next time, it's goodbye.